Outer Orange. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We are here with another premium list. I love this list. Premium. I've already created a deck for this, but we are creating another version of the deck, a nice consistent version. As you guys know, I have this version of the deck, and I also have this version of the deck, which is, you know, crits and stands, going as aggro as possible and abusing V-Premium Pacifica's skill. So let's talk about it. Talk about the Pacifica Premium list today. Let's go on and get to it. All right, guys, we're here. Here's the Pacificas, but before I talk about the Pacificas, we gotta talk about the deck box, the Pacifica deck box, because to match my Pacifica look, you know, I kind of, you know, we kind of match. You know, you see that? We're friends. Very wonderful box. It's one of those like Bermuda type boxes. If you Melody, there's quite a few boxes in the Melody form, but I got this one. It's got the cute little rhinestones on the sides. And for my sleeves, fun fact, guys, Link Joker sleeves are like $4 on Amazon. So I've been buying a ton of these, and I've been sleeving all my Bermuda sleeves in these, so that way if I want to make a change, all I have to do is just go whoop, and I made a change. As I mentioned, this one's different from like the other version, but it's kind of like an upgrade to what you can do with Pacifica. So of course we want to run 4 copies of Top Idol Pacifica. This is the V-Premium one, and of course I gotta share my bling, my winter SP bling. The condition of this Pacifica states that if you have any amount of Pacificas on a rear guard, she gets skills. So if you have 1, you get an extra 10k and a drive. If you have 2, you get 2 extra force markers on top of the force marker that she gains herself. So that's 3 force markers in 1 turn. Keep that in mind. And 3, we get a guard restrict, all for the cost of a counter of a soul blast. And the guard restrict states that you must guard with 3 cards for every attack. Now, why is that relevant? Why do we care about that so much? Well, because if you can multi-attack with all the guard restrict on top of just having her skill just go ballistic on you, your opponent's probably gonna die. Of course, it states that we need to have Pacificas, you know, to do this. Well, we're going to have some Pacificas at 3 copies. You can use her soul skill, but she's literally mainly here just as a Pacifica, as her name is the important part to make our V-Premium Pacifica meet our condition. Of course, we want more Pacificas. We gotta have all 3 different kinds. So you also need Eternal Idol Pacifica, and I run 3 copies of her, making it a total of 10 grade 3s. And we run her literally just for the name and nothing else. Like, she's just purely there for the name. Fun fact, guys, because some people actually have no idea, there are actual strides that revolve around Pacificas, crazily enough. But we'll get into these girls in a little bit. Let's talk about our grade 2s real quick. To start off the show, I run 2 Spica. This is, her full name is Admired Sparkle Spica. God, what a card. For GB1, you can counterblast when she attacks. If you are boosted, bounce back another rear guard, and then call another card. So pretty much you can do something like this. Swing with your rear, swing with her, use her skill, bounce this back, and call something else, and that thing gets 3k. Pretty much enables multi-attacking. You do have to be on GB1, but it is just a really great card. You can't go wrong with this. Run 3 copies of Top Idol Aqua. Top Idol Aqua is a dumb card in a good way. Her skill states when placed, you may bounce a card back, draw a card, or discard, and then if you have another rear guard behind her, something like this, like if there's something behind her, she gets an extra 5k, making her a 15k attacker, or with a boost even higher, just adding on to that aggression with the numbers. Run hers because we have a lot of cards in this deck that involve on-place abilities, so you can literally bounce an on-place ability and then just use it again. Just really solid stuff right here. You're gonna want to see this. I don't think you need at 4, as there are other cards that we kind of need a little bit more, but she's really good at 3. She does the job. Next, so one of the stars of the show, we run Interesting Hope Shirazutsu you. This card gives you a mini loop of countercharging and searching for grade 3s. This is actually an addition to the deck that I have been wanting to try, and I just haven't tried it yet. Actually, the very first list that I ever saw of a Pacifica Premium list ran this exact card along with the starter that goes along with this card. Once per turn, you can Soul Blast, choose a card from your soul, and choose a card with Shizuku in its card name and bring it back from soul to hand. And you can, and if it's specifically the 0, you countercharge and you soul charge, meaning you can use this skill. We'll talk about her in a little bit, but you use her skill to put her into soul, to then use her skill to bring her back to hand, and you countercharge. And her skill involves a counterblast. So what I'm getting at is that you can pretty much keep using these back and forth. So if say you have like 1, 2, 3, all 4 of these out on your board, you can actually do it 4 times if you you really want to. I don't recommend it, but you could. And she gets 5k on top of that, so she becomes a 14k attacker on top of the fact that you're constantly looking for your top 5. This card is pretty much a grade 3 searcher, and it's a free grade 3 searcher. It's a counterblast, but you get it back. So you pretty much just search, and you don't have to discard, you don't have to do anything. It just happens, you just get it. On top of that, in case you don't want to search anymore, this is also a 10k guard, so this 10k guard goes back to your hand, which is never a bad thing. Best cards probably in this deck, and this card is just really strong. It's kind of sad that it's in a deck that isn't as used well enough, or it doesn't have enough potential to really shine, but we're trying to get there, right? Expect Rhythm Vera. I've talked about this card before. We run 4 copies of her. My goodness, what a card. This card has a lot in one skill, and I just want to let you know this card's very busted. If this literally didn't have a restrict name to like what you can use it for, this card would be like probably one of the strongest cards in all of Bermuda, next to like probably Weaselot. No joke, this card's that dumb, but unfortunately it has a name restriction. So once per turn, if your Vanguard is top out of Pacifica or herself, so you can do it on her Vanguard turn, you counterblast 1, put another rear guard into the bottom of your deck. By the way, it can be a crit, it can be a stand, it can literally be anything. It can be an overtrigger, it can be any card you want. It does not have to be a normal unit. And then you call a normal unit from your drop zone to the board. So this card is a revival card. On top of that, the skill's not over there. Then everything on your board gets boost and resist. The specific term is it cannot be chosen by anything, which means you cannot be denial griffined, you can't be board wiped. The only thing, you can't be locked, if I'm not mistaken. Locks, I could be wrong, you guys can tell me in the comments. I'm pretty sure this goes around locks too. But long story short, the only thing, one of the few things that doesn't go around is stuff like Hyuga. So if Hyuga exists, Hyuga can deal with this, but you can go around Shiryuki. So if people have a Shiryuki, that you can't get Shiryuki'd. It is just crazy how much this card does with literally 1 counterblast. And keep in mind, this deck shuffles a lot, so that stand, that overtrigger, whatever it is that you put back, you will probably you will see it again. You're gonna shuffle, and we'll talk about our grade 1s. Our grade 1s is like the main shuffling mechanic, so you'll definitely shuffle whatever it is that you put to the bottom. So this card is nuts. On top of the fact that it gives boost, meaning it makes your grade 3s not useless until the end of your opponent's turn. So you will have the resist on your board during their turn. Drop zone call. There's a reason why I like this deck. It's because this card exists. I like my drop zone calls. I like being able to call from drop zone. I want to be a Grand Blue player in a Bermuda deck, and I get to do that with this 1 card. So great card. That's our grade 2s, making a total of 13. Let's talk about our grade 1s. Talk about some on-place abilities that we can bring back from our top idol skill. 4 copies of Redka. I love Redka. I've always liked Redka. I just think she's just a really fun card. So she's got kind of like 2 skills. Her first skill is on Vanguard. If she hits, you draw a card. And some weird stuff you can do with this. So it's gonna sound weird because I play this in different scenarios. So obviously you need to, you know, swing to actually get this all to pop off. But what you can do is you can actually ride another grade 1 and say if you're going first. And then if you don't want to give your opponent stride, you can actually ride her again and then attack at that point. And then your opponent will only be able to do whatever their grade 3 does. They'll miss their stride, and then on turn after that you can stride and try to kill them. It's a really good way to secure or recycle your hands. Like say you say your hand sucks, say you don't want to ride your grade 2, say there's just some weird circumstances, this card kind of covers it for you, as is an on-hit draw, and your opponent will usually probably take it. The counterblasts in premium are really nice. So this will give you the draw. It'll give you 2 cards in hand, 1 from Drive Check, 1 from herself. And like I said, if you play this out smart, you can actually utilize this card to its biggest potential. But that's just its Vanguard skill. It also has a rearguard skill. Rearguard skill says you can retire herself to look at top 2 cards, and 1 goes to your hand and 1 goes to the drop zone. So this is a really good way to cycle through your Pacificas, get to your Pacificas as soon as possible, but also it sets up your drop zones. So that way you can go into your Viera and do whatever you need to do. So if there's something particular that you want to revive, you can put it into your drop zone and then revive it with her. Very amazing way to utilize both cards. I just think this card just overall is good in the clan. It's not an always must have, you have to have it type of thing, but the card is a really good tech. You can throw her into so many things and just make use out of it. We also have 2 copies of the grade 1 Shizuku. She is a GB1, but she is almost free. And my favorite part about her is that her skill says harmony. So this makes our strides in the future, like Shandee, so much better. If you have both of these out, you can have a full board of you have a full new board. And I think for what this card does, the harmony ability is really, really useful. So pretty much her skill is very simple. GB1, if you're in harmony, you literally just just look at top 5 for a grade 3. It's very simple. You don't have to discard, don't have to do anything. It just exists. Actually thinking about bumping this up one more just because I love striding to Shandee with this existing. It just makes my Shandee turn just that much more lethal. But right now, keeping at 2, I might choose to bump it up and maybe bump a red cut down, but that's a maybe. I'm not fully there yet. I'm still testing. But anyway, and then lastly, another star of the grade 1 show, we have Rainbow Shard Urani. Goodness, what a card. Again, what a card that exists in a in an archetype that that isn't played that often. So this card is a very Pacifica oriented card. But first has 1 place. Look at top 7 for any Pacifica, as long as that's Pacifica in his card name. So you search for Pacifica, top 7, put it to your hand, and then she gets an extra 3k. So she becomes 11k attacker. And as I mentioned, it is a when placed skill. So you can actually bounce her back and do it again. You can bounce her back and do it again. You can use top idle aqua skill to bounce stuff back and bring it back. You can go into Ange and then bounce back your on place skills and just dig through your deck as fast as possible. It's super free. It is the best Pacifica searcher there is. There is not a better one. There's 2 other ones. They're not that great. This one is completely free. It literally says play the game, search for Pacifica. That puts us at exactly 10 grade 1s. Let's talk about our grade 0s. I'm actually going to go into the starter first this time. I know it's not traditional of me, but we're going to go into the starter first. So the starter is a grade 0. So this is Shizuku. This is specifically Bermuda Triangle Cadet Shizuku. This is the old one, not the new one. There's a reprinted one in V-Premium. This is the old one. This one doesn't have the quick shield, doesn't have the extra draw. However, it is a forerunner. She pops out. So when you ride on top of her, she pops out. And pretty much her skill is very basic, but it does a lot. It says counterblast, put her into soul, look at top 5 for grade 3, put it into your hand. Very simple skill, but however, her skill, as I mentioned earlier in this video, goes super well with our Shirazutsu. I can't say her name, and I'm so sorry. But these combo extremely well. You may, if you've ever seen Pacifica deck recently, this is probably what you saw people running. It works really well off of each other. For Sentinels, I run 2 of the draw, 2 of the crits. I run 2 and 2. If you go for your lethal blow and you see crits and your opponent says no guard because they can't guard, they're dying. So you want to make sure you get to that condition as quick as possible. I almost want to recommend going all crits. I would recommend at least trying it. I have been experimenting with this deck quite some time. I'm going for the more consistent version of this deck versus the super aggressive version. So in this version, I actually did put 2 draws in, but in a super aggressive version, I go all crits. Even the heals become crits. I just go as aggro as possible and kill my opponent before they get even the chance to sniff their grade 3. Like they just don't even get a chance to touch that thing. I just kill them before that. On top of that, we of course run some more crits. I run 2, the soul crit. This is the one that says GB1, put her into soul. When your Vanguard attacks, you draw a card and your Vanguard gets 10k. She's okay. I think in this deck, it's more for the 10k than anything else, but your Vanguard usually will be in pretty stacked. There is another crit that you desperately need, and that is the Stride crit. This is Rapping Chorus Trudy, and I'm sorry, I didn't give the name for this lovely lady. Her name is Aqua Light Ardell, so for that. But anyway, so Trudy says, if you were to stride, you can just stride with this card instead. Considering our grade 3s are extremely important pieces in the deck, you can choose, pick either or, but sometimes using this instead is going to be way better, as there is like a name condition. If you have 3 different Pacificas, you could do some stuff. So you may want to stride with this instead, and then use the Pacificas for the duration strides. For heals, so there they are. You need your heal triggers. They're busted. You can G guard, you can just do things. They're great. Of course, we want to run 1 stand. This is Kirk. Everybody knows Kirk. She is banned to 1. I know Kirk. You know Kirk. The whole world knows Kirk. Kirk's skill literally lets you multi-attack. It's another attack extender to Spica, but just to give you the full skill, it's a GB1 skill. If this unit is in harmony, which is very easy to obtain. But anyway, put this unit on top of your deck. At the end of the battle, this unit boosting, pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your other rear guards to turn to hand. Choose up to 1 want a card from your hand and call it. So she literally lets you multi-attack. So her and Pacifica being on the board will enable a lot of multi-attacking that you can potentially do. Just really, really awesome stuff. She's just good. Lastly, we run one overtrigger. Overtriggers, of course, are pretty busted right now. This is the million overtrigger. We don't have any other overtrigger at the moment since Lyrical Monstro is not out yet. So this is the only overtrigger that Bermuda is allowed to use right now. It states if it's checked. So if you check it on your drive check, then that means you give 2 units a million power and you draw a card. If it's defensively checked, then you just put a million power on something. So you have the option of Force 1 or you can go Force 2. It is extremely match dependent. If you're facing something like Angels, I would recommend going Force 1. If you're facing anything that has any way to increase their base higher than what their base normally is, you may always want to go Force 1. You go Force 2 in very awkward situations or when you're trying to damage deny your opponent as much as possible. Keep in mind the guard restrict is active regardless. So if you have your guard restrict active, this Pacifica is like an 11k, so you can literally just swing with 11k and they still have to guard 3 cards. It just makes it really dumb and they have to make that decision. Force 2 is just really awkward because if they hit even 1 defensive, that's it. Your entire stuff gets shut down. Like you have the chance of maybe potentially like, you know, drive checking a trigger, but your stuff gets shut down really fast. Force 2 is extremely situational. You want to be very careful when you use it. Force 1, you can pretty much go every single time and have a pretty good time, but don't deny Force 2 because you can have 3 Force 2 attacking columns. And in case your opponent doesn't land defenses, they're probably going to die. And if you can multi-attack, they're probably going to die. And if there's any way you can get power onto your board, good for you. And if you hit the overtrigger, even better. But like I said, this is super edge case. So going into our strides, I have pretty much the generic blend of like the normal strides that you pretty much want to see. But we'll start off with the weird ones, the ones that you don't know about. So here is the first one. This is a really long text. It says Twinkle Happiness Pacifica. Nobody knows this card exists. This Pacifica stride is actually very simple. It literally just states Counterblast, flip a copy of herself. So you have to have 2, no matter what, you have to have 2. So it makes your GB stuff easier though. Yeah, she's a really good, she's really good to go into first. Either her or Shandee, that would be like your choice. You return a rear guard. So if you have that grade 1 I was talking about, or a grade 2, or anything you just want to return, you return a hand, search your deck for any Pacifica you want and put it into your hand. If you do that, you reveal 3 different Pacifica names. So Top Idol Pacifica, Eternal Idol Pacifica, and Planet Idol Pacifica. If you have all 3 in your hand and you reveal them, she also gains a crit, which sounds kind of like like I thought it was kind of too at first, but then I discovered that if you have a multi-attacking turn that turn, your opponent actually might die on this stride. It's very possible that crit, if they have to no guard it, they're probably going to die. So something to keep in mind. I only have 1 copy of her because she's kind of edge case. I call her Mini Megiddo, but this is Fantastic Passion Pacifica. There she is. She is a GB2 to kind of get her full functionality, but pretty much her skill states Counterblast. When she attacks, reveal 3 different Pacificas, so same condition as the other one. So you have to have 3 different Pacificas to give her whole skill. It said, so you reveal 3 Pacificas, you return all cards from your board, and then call as many Pacificas as you can, pretty much. So you call 5. If you have 5, you call 5. And they all get 5k, and GB2, they can attack from the back row. This is a really good late game approach, but like I said, you do have to have 3 Pacificas. So like I said, it can be kind of awkward. You're not always going to meet this. This is kind of edge case. So just letting you know, that's just how it is. But it's a good card. I like it. As long as you have 1 Counterblast, it explodes very well. But that's our Pacifica strides. Going into non-Pacifica strides. So first we're going to start with Shandee. Shandee is amazing. Like I said, if you have any form of harmony, this deck just, this card just accelerates like crazy. So she pretty much stays, she puts herself into harmony, so whatever's back here goes into harmony too. But her skill stays Counterblast. 1, when she attacks, if you have, for however many units you have in harmony, you can call out that, you look at top 10 and call out that many cards. So if you have 2 units in harmony, then you can freshly call a new column. You can call a column here off of your top 10. And chances are in your top 10, you're gonna find some spicy stuff. So this card is just dumb. You can also go into Balanara. Balanara is another good first stride as it lets you pretty much avoid stride cost. If they guard, you can just discard a grade 1 or less, and then that guard that they put down just goes away. Going in next, of course, you want Megiddo. Megiddo is literally Pacifica, the Pacifica one, but just slightly better. Pretty much does the same thing, and if you have a way of multi-attacking, it's great. Next is Ange. I actually really like Ange in this deck, as your when placed abilities will activate a lot better. Her skill says Counterblast 2, return as many cards as you want, from both sides, from both your and your opponent's side. If you return 5 or more, you draw a card. If you return 7 or more, she gains an extra drive, and she gets 5k for every card returned. So pretty much normally you're gonna want to return 7. If you return 7, then she just gets higher with every returned card, and she gets flies. I run 2 copies of her. I also run Legend of the Glass Shoe Amoris. She is just a vanilla card. She lets you bounce stuff back, and bouncing is never really a bad thing. You can bounce your when placed abilities, bounce any cards that you feel like you need protecting. Say you just did a Pacifica turn and you have all these random Pacificas on the board, you can bounce it back with this. But it's a very big vanilla turn. You swing at their rear, deny damage, and do all that fun stuff. Lastly, I run Chocho Tiara. Her full name is Chocho Popular Favor Tira, I believe her name is. Just a really good restanding unit. She lets you pretty much put stuff back into your deck, including triggers. You return 3 rearguard, she restands, but is a GB3. It is a GB3, so it's kind of like a late game finisher, but going into it is not bad. You can make everything boost and then go into this and just end your opponent's life. One of my favorite G guards will always be Shandee at the moment because she's probably one of the best. I run 2 copies of her. Shandee pretty much gives you the ability to bigger your hand is, the stronger this is. Going from Anja to this isn't too bad. Pretty much she states at GB1, you count for every 2 cards in your hand, you get 5k shield, and then you can also counterblast to get extra 5k. So she's just a really beefy G guard. I also run hand-in-hand Leona. This just lets you kind of protect your board just a little bit if you really want it. It says when placed, you choose one of your rear guards and you may return to hand. If you do choose a card from your hand and call it, if it's the same card name, then she gets 5k, but you don't have to necessarily do that. You can even save your Hanoi this way. I'm not running Hanoi in here, but I probably should be. But if you do have Hanoi, this is a good way to just bring Hanoi back if you really need to. And then you can actually double from her, you can actually double into another Hanoi. So Citron's like the next card, right? I actually run 3 Sandee. Sorry guys, I run 3 Sandee. You can double into Citron. So if you have 2 G guards in hand, you can bring back your Hanoi to protect you in case your opponent tries to board up your Hanoi, and then you can use Citron, which says when placed, call a grade 1 or greater, I believe, and bring the Hanoi back out. This is a really good interaction between both of them. It's a really rare interaction, not gonna see it too often, but it is something you can do. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire strike zone. Call your over trigger out or any other trigger, and then you can call her out, so you counterblast, put this to the bottom of your deck, and then call out a Pacifica from your drop zone. So pretend, and then now everything has boost and resist. So at this point, and also don't forget, we have our force markers. Well, we have our force marker here, and then now that everything has boost and resist, you can Soul Blast out. Since we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 Pacificas, you can actually call something else instead of that. We have 4 Pacificas, so now you get an extra 10k to your Vanguard and an extra drive. You also get 2 more force markers, and you get the guard restrict. So everything boosts, everything has resist, and everything pretty deadly, and you have a triple drive check. Very, very nice stuff. This is your V-Premium. I chose not to stride. I'm just gonna bash you in the face, bash you in the skull, bash you until your brains come out type of approach. Dumber with this, and you can actually add a little bit more brutality to this by like this instead. And you can multi-attack, so you can swing like this, right? Then you can swing with your Spica. Use Spica's skill to bring this one back. And then you can attack here. By the way, the guard restrict is active for all of them. And then you can put all effects here and just make everything lethal. You can also go into Mini Megiddo stride. So you can do something like this. Like you can start off your turn with Spica. You can have Spica. You can even put down a trigger you want to boost. And like you can literally, you're gonna smash their face. You're gonna smash with Spica to then replenish this. And by the way, this is attack number 3 now. Attack number 2, then attack number 3, and then you're gonna go in with this one. And this one states if you have 3 Pacificas and 3, they have to be the 3 different ones. So 1, 2, and 3. Then the skill sets to bring back your entire board. And if you have more Pacificas in your hand, then you're gonna call out Pacificas. It has to be cards with Pacifica in this card key, by the way, so you can't call out anything but Pacificas. They all get 5k, and they all can attack from the front, and the back row can attack now. On top of the fact that you still have this, you still have this attack going. You still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was just to be clear, how does that work? So that was 1, 2. And then she gives you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 attacks coming into your opponent's face. If they're around 4 or 5 damage, they're probably going to die. The very, very good end game type of approach. So last but not least, you can go into Shandee. Now granted, I would recommend going into this, especially if you have Harmony type units. So keep in mind, this isn't Harmony, this isn't Harmony, and this isn't Harmony. So you can just swing, and then you can swing, and then you can go like this, and then you can look at top 10, whatever it is, and then you can call over. You can call over like this, whatever it is that's in your top 10. You can call over, and now you have more attacks coming. Keep in mind, Spico also bounced. I just forgot to do that part, but Spico also bounced. And then you have literally 2 more attacks coming in your opponent's face, on top of the fact that you also have a drive check. That's a triple drive that's coming in your opponent's face. And chances are, this is very lethal. Like I said, I've killed with people on this turn. It's just very awesome. But yes, that's pretty much my deck profile with a little touch of Shizuku in it. Let's go ahead and go back to the main screen. All right, guys, so I'm back with my Pacificas and everything. Yay, big shiny, big cute, adorable Pacificas. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys really liked this profile, then please like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I think this profile is extremely consistent. Is it tier 1 or anything like that? No, but it's really fun and you can win with it. It's possible. Keep in mind, this is like a super consistent game plan. This is all about being consistent. If you want to try a more brutal version of it, you can go 16 crit or 16 stand and try it out that way. Yeah, you can throw in Lieselot and anything that gains power, and you will have a really good time just trying to slaughter your opponent to their doom. Stands are also really nice. You can have a mini, super mini 0.5 Blade Master approach. That way, with the stands, it just pretty much forces your opponent to guard more. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It is the better version of a deck I had earlier. I think this deck does so much more than what I was doing already with my deck, and I want to just give a quick thank you to Ian for kind of reigniting my desire to just pretty much just experiment with Pacifica some more. I ignited him to try out Pacifica, but then looking at his stuff reignited me to rebuild my Pacifica back into the Shizuku style, which is what I was originally going to go for. That's why I had the cards, but I never tried it out. So thank you, Ian, for that, and thank you guys all so much for all the support. I know there's actually quite a few Pacifica players that watch my channel, so I hope this helps you with your future Pacifica builds. Hope you find something that's actually useful and interesting in this video that'll help you succeed in your Pacifica Premium builds, as I actually think this deck's pretty good. It's not like super crazy Blade Master tier or anything like that, but the deck is very capable of doing a lot more than people expect it to. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching and all that fun stuff. I really appreciate it as always. Thank you for enjoying my little premium Pacifica videos. I just really appreciate you guys and everything you guys do in the comments and all that stuff. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. So peace out and das vidanya. Bye.